Yes. What's the? Wow.
When the president, when the president stood up in your chair.
Let's go, Mike. I can. Shape. And they all. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the regional managers.
What age?
Yeah, he had to. Yeah, he was. But still, like this, I think I should have known better. It's always more. I tried to think I was like. Yeah. Okay, I wasn't sure. I was trying to think of
Good afternoon, everyone. Our district governor will be coming up here to give us our inspiration. But we'll wait. It's a great day to be a Rotarian. Amen.
Yes.
Please bow your head with me. Oh God, our Father, who gives us food for the body and truth for the mind, so enlighten and nourish us that we may grow wise and strong and do thy will. Help us to continue in our efforts as Rotarians. We ask these blessings in thy holy name. Amen. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The four-way test of the things we think, say, or do.
Yes.
Not any big talk. Number 10, it wasn't fair. Three. And four. Before I sit down, I just want to make sure everybody knows that our district conference will be next May on the 14th and 15th and 16th. It'll be at the Radisson down on the river in Covington. We're putting together a nice party. It will be very little business. This is going to be, let's get together and have some fun. So please put it on your calendar. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. They got, thank you, big guy. Was that you or was that your AI boy? I'm always worried about it. Let's welcome Chief Jeff Mallory, Florence Police Chief here. I can only imagine why this program erupts here, Chief. And I have the pleasure of Rodney Wren, Fire EMS Chief. Welcome, Rodney. I get to pick on somebody from Jordan Street, I guess. Jared Metz, you want to stand up, tell us what you do, Jared?
Yeah, perfect. My name is Jared Metz. I'm the assistant county attorney at the Quinn County Attorney's Office. I do a little bit of everything from child support to guardianships. I'm here mostly though because I do the involuntary mental health as well as the Casey's Law for substance abuse.
Very good.
Thank you all for having me.
Well, you're not a Mets fan, are you? Okay, there you go. That's good. 3 and 4 on the trip, or but we got hope, right? The Mets are still losing. Nothing personal, Jared.
That's right.
But it's all good that that's going on. And the other thing that was a real win this weekend, you didn't have to stay inside and watch anything. It was so pretty out. As I always say, the Lord works in mysterious ways, and that was a good weekend. The other thing is, many of you know that I've been traded to Alexandria, and I'm entering my
15 months here, there, but Coos County. But, the, Alexandria Fair is going on this weekend. And, wanted you to know, there's some things I like about Alexandria, that, like when I was a kid, that the farmers still wave to you on 27 out their truck window. So that brought back some good memories, and there was a bunch of crickets over the weekend, so that brought back some good memories. There's a big sign on 27 this week, and I want you to know at the fair, lawnmower races are Thursday night. The Rotary Golf outing is going on. I have these brochures up here. Grab you one. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And board members, don't forget, we're meeting right after this meeting. We still need some folks to join the board, and Casey and John, thank you for joining the foundation. We appreciate that very much. As you all already know, there's a small fee that's added to you using credit card. It's $13.50. The last time we talked about it in cash or check, it's still $13. As Sean said, our 28th annual golf outing is coming up on the 3rd. Then the next day is the river sweep, and you can sign up now for the Rotary Leadership Institute that will be going on down in Lexington in the 11th. Once again, with the golf outing, we're supporting Sunrise of Hope and our scholarship fund. If you could bring a bottle of bourbon, we're going to be raffling those off at the golf outing. We'll have one big basket. Do you have the raffle?
I do. I'm assigning everybody their 5 raffle tickets. It's not tough to do. You just have to find 5 people who have $20 who like bourbon.
And it's good bourbon.
It is good bourbon. You have happy. You know, I think Pat and I may have a little bit of a disagreement, but I think bourbon is still liked in the state of Kentucky.
Absolutely.
And it's for an excellent cause. So I'm going to hand everybody 5 tickets to sell. If you cannot sell them, you're required from our license, because we do have a gaming license, that any unsold tickets have to be returned. But hopefully you don't have to bring any back.
Yes, only $20 a ticket, and you can even buy a bottle of bourbon for $20. So you got happy and Lance in there, and it has several others. So any bourbon drinker will say yes. Buy 2 tickets. What do we have here? Julie, is this you? Yes.
That is me. So, in order to help, with some administration of the club and different things, I've arranged for a Dine to Donate day at, BB Bop, which is one of my favorite restaurants. It's Asian, it's like a Chipotle, but Asian version. You can pick what you want. It's all day on the 8th, which I think Senator Schuckel is speaking on that day.
Yeah.
But to make a bigger impact, if you go to Kroger first and buy a BB Bop gift card, that you have your community rewards tied to the Rotary Club of Florence, then we get money from Kroger and we get money from BB Bop.
Win-win.
Yeah, that's right. And you get your Kroger fuel rewards points too.
There it is. Now, how do we sign up to become the community rewards?
I can more than happy to help you, but just log into if you do a Google search for Kroger Community Rewards, it'll take you to the page. You sign into your Kroger account, type in our club, like Rotary Club of Florence, and it'll pop up as one to select.
And that doesn't affect our rewards points.
No, the club gets the money and you get your fuel points.
They get, what is it?
It's a prorated amount of like, I think they give them $1 every quarter.
And Barbara's at the call. There she is. Was one of the people that was at the fishing night, and Paul, as you see, Richard, who is a friend of Greg and I. Yeah, it's quite sweaty, so it was a very hot day that day. But Barb says there was like 20 kids there fishing, so what a great out.
And the kids each got their own, after at the end of the day, they use the fishing poles from the Northern Kentucky Fishermen Association, but then they got their own fishing pole before they left and a little tackle box. And those two boys are my grandsons, Orion and Ash, and they just had a blast. They did not catch a fish, which they did not understand that they did not catch them. Anyway, they tried and only one of them fell in the lake. So only one other kid got hooked. And he ended up at urgent care, but.
Good times had left.
Yeah.
What,
Just-
do we do this?
Yeah, just keep, when you see stuff on our pages, like it, share it. Say that you're going to events and invite people to events.
That's not difficult.
Oh, and I forgot to put that in. Oh, shoot. Yeah,
I
we-
finally went on board and registered my hours, so I can no longer say I'm clean, and it's not good.
And if Mark can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah,
I've got, for those who do not like to log in, like never been on that TV, I've got papers up here that you can fill out, hand to the front. They'll get them to me and I'll input your hours for you.
Wow, Rotary service at its finest.
That's right. No excuse then for not registering your volunteer hours. As you all probably saw, or if you haven't, we do now have a citizen of the year that is October 6th will be the celebration for Joe. And he was here to talk about the project, so you all know about how impactful that is.
And it'll be at the Nature Center,
They look at, yeah.
Nature Park.
And he announced them strong, many went out here, besides what we've already talked about. Matt Turner has a birthday today. He is not here. He texted me. He was on vacation this week. And then when he got home on Friday, he was informed that he had to report for jury duty selection.
Oh,
He is not here. Very 6 years for you. Good deal. Happy dollars. Ian.
All right, my beloved St. Henry Crusaders were sufficiently slaughtered on Friday. So anyone that has a St. Henry Crusader undefeated since 1933 shirt can throw it right in the trash. They take on Boone County, my alma mater, on Friday, and I expect the same result.
Jim, you had-
I've never done a happy dollar before, but this week I'm gonna give one to Paul. Paul, I tapped him on the shoulder last week, asked him to get the tickets printed, and within 6 days he had them to us.
yay.
I have a happy dollar. My son, who is stationed at Paris Island, came home for a wedding. Only just got to see him for that wedding night, but was a good friend of the family. I've known. My son and Kagan have been friends ever since, well, they were born at the same time, went to the same church, same elementary school, junior high, high school, college. So got married and Sam was up, so I got to see him for a little bit. And then on a personal note, on August 20th, I celebrated my 43rd year of when I got my commission as a second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps. So
Oh, nice.
All right, so a couple months ago, I got the transportation update. I invited Sarah, who is my neighbor, couldn't tell this story at the drug test meeting, but Sarah's husband and I frequently have driveway beards, like in an episode of King of the Hill. But anyway, I invited Sarah to attend that meeting because I knew that there was a lot of politicians in the room, people that would be beneficial for her to know in her role and being an asset to her team. And then she actually introduced me to Julie. So I think you guys have enough material where you can make a series out of this. Julie Hellman, who is the Regional Resource Specialist with the Office of Drug Control Policy, will provide an overview of the CARES program, which supports ongoing client care to achieve treatment, recovery, and long-term stability. We're also going to be trained on administering naloxone. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
In emergency overdose situations, a life-saving skill everyone should know. Additionally, Julie will guide us through the Casey's Law process, offering practical insights on how you can support family and friends battling substance abuse. Julie brings deep personal and professional dedication to this work, along with a background in social work, law enforcement communication, and community outreach. Her commitment to making a difference in the fight against addiction is both inspiring and informative. So without further ado, Julie Hellman.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me today to talk about our days in office and what we do. I think, do I hit this button?
Oh, no, we got to switch.
Okay. Thank you, sorry.
Presentation.
So I'm just gonna pull that up so that way we all can see the presentation. And then as you walked in, there are some packets of the presentation. If you would like to follow as well, I can pass those out while she is on that job. Yeah. Okay.
It will end so.
Sarah has to step out first.
No worries.
Thank you so much. And then I think to change the slide, I just had to. Okay, so my name is Shirley Bamber. I'm from the Northern Kentucky Office of Drug Control Policy. My title is Regional Resource Specialist. I kind of have a bunch of hats in our office. I am the lead on the Northern Kentucky Hellman. I get a variety of calls, which I'm going to talk a little bit about today. And I work with my colleagues, and we like to meet our callers and clients where they are and try to get them in the right direction of services. So we like to thank our company's drug executives. They oversee our office. They are three components, so we like to recognize them as well. And our team is small but mighty. So we have a total of 5 in our office. So my director is Amanda Peters. My assistant director is Amy Morgan. We are at the office about right down the Friday, we travel a lot. And my coworker, Sarah Blackburn, she is our public safety administrator, and then Brianna Walton, who's not here today. She is our community health administrator. For our mission at the Northern Kentucky Office of Drug Control Policy, we dedicate our service to try to end the prevalence of substance use among youth and adult populations. And we work with the counties. We try to find solutions as best as we can, because it is a constant battle. So one of our key components is just trying to help as best as we can to find a solution. So we are a regional approach. We do believe that there is no wrong door to treatment or recovery. And so we look at this as like a enhancement of infrastructure, connecting with our community resources, other agencies that strive to do what we do as well. Meeting the clients, as I mentioned later, cares. We do navigate through integration there to keep track of the client, make sure that the client is getting services, and potentially even community resources. And we have our Northern Kentucky helpline. So I do answer a variety of calls where I'm meeting them as they are. They could be in crisis. We're mainly not a crisis support, but we do get those crisis calls, and I have to navigate through that to make sure that they get the resources they need. So it's really key to see. Okay, so what we do. I'm sorry that it says 24/7. Our helpline is not 24/7, but our helpline is Monday through Friday. We are open from 8 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. There are some days in the week, like Tuesdays and Thursdays, where we do have on-call hours right now. We'll see if that adjusts. But we are usually on the phones until 8:30 at night on those days. We do get all kinds of calls, variety hours of the day, from our police social workers to even community partners who need help assessing and getting their clients their results. We do naloxone training, which I'm going to do with you guys today. And there's Casey's Law. So Sarah Blackburn is going to discuss a little bit with you about Casey's Law.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah Blackburn. I'm the Public Safety Administrator with the Northern Kentucky Office of Drug Control Policy. I always have to take a deep breath after giving my title. Northern Kentucky. I do many different tasks in the office related to justice system work. I've worked with Jarrett, who was phenomenal in assisting me with an elderly woman who, she was in her 80s. Her son had stage 4 cancer. She has tried over and over and over again to get him assistance with drug and alcohol treatment. He showed up at her house. He was with 2 people that he didn't really know. However, they said that if he didn't give him the money that he owed them for the drug use, that they would do very bad things to him without expanding on that. The mom was obviously terrified. He had bullet holes in his car. And she thought, what if I pass away and I leave him behind on this earth, not knowing if he's going to be okay and be taken care of? And that's just one of the instances that we deal with at the Office of Drug Control Policy, where individuals are seeking assistance for their family members. Do they have a right to harm themselves and do drugs and things of that nature? Yeah, people have the right to act wild. You know, they can do whatever they want. However, if you want to seek assistance for your family when they don't have the capacity to think for themselves anymore because the drugs and alcohol have taken over, it's like they're being possessed. They can't think for themselves. They don't know how to spend their own money. They don't know how to go to work every day and function. They are losing their job. They're losing their finances. Recently, a little sister was taking care of her big brother. I worked on another Casey's Law case where she's like, this isn't my big brother. He took care of me my whole life. And now he sold his car, bought a trailer. He wants to live on the road in this trailer and just drink. He's camping out in Red River Gorge. He's driving all over the place. He's stealing. This isn't him. And he was a pretty prominent attorney. And now he's just lost everything. So what we do at the Office of Drug Control Policy is we guide individuals through this process. The first thing we tell people to do is to make sure they contact their county attorney. So what they'll do is they'll contact Jared. And they'll say, I want to file Casey's Law on my family. And so there is a process every county goes through. And Boone County will call us. They'll say, we have an individual who would really like some help going through Casey's Law. One of the things I pride myself in our office, we pride ourselves in, is that we work with people individually, each case by case scenario. We don't give them a phone number and send them off. We walk with them through every step. We can't do anything for anybody. I'm not an attorney. I can't give them legal advice, but what I can do is I can show up at the clerk's office with them. I can make sure that they have support when they're nervous and they feel like there is no hope. Our office gives them hope. That's what we're here for, to make sure that people don't feel alone through the process. So I go there and make sure they have the right forms, because there's forms to fill out. I go and I make sure that once they fill those forms out, they talk to the correct clerk. I make sure that, you know, they are in steady communication with Jared and they call when they have any questions, because Jared's not scary. He's very smart, but he's not scary. Don't be afraid to go ask those questions. If there is an instance where they don't show up to the hearings, if you don't show up to a Casey's Law hearing, that's the great thing about Casey's Law. You have the law on your side. The bench is there, and the bench can say, all right, well, now there's a warrant and we're going to bring you in. And sometimes your loved one, even though you don't want to see them in jail, sometimes that's what's going to save their life. If that's how they detox and get clean, then sometimes that's the best thing for them, unfortunately. Has anybody here lost somebody to drug use, alcohol use? Thank you for being honest. I appreciate that. I have. My big cousin, I have pictures of us hanging on the wall of me walking down the aisle with him. I was a flower girl. He was a ring bearer. He took care of me. He made sure that nobody on the playground messed with me when we were in school. He got older. He became a welder, made tons of money. He was doing great. He had surgery. He got addicted to opioids. He died by himself in a car. My big cousin. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what your race is, what your gender is, how much money you make. It doesn't matter. It hits everyone, everywhere.
Yes, I had to do the Casey Law in the daughter.
Yes,
Saved her life.
it does.
No, without her, she wouldn't be there.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. So how much was she angry during the process?
She was very angry at the
Yeah.
process, but she also realized that she was out of control.
Mhm.
She did a stay down in Richmond
Okay, yeah.
facility down there. She was there for a year in the complex and then moved out to an apartment that is also on the grounds.
Mhm.
And that for another year. Now she's home.
How grateful is she that you?
Oh, very. Now has a 3-year-old daughter. She did.
Yes. Thank you, because I know, I don't know, I didn't have the ability to do Casey's Law with Curtis, but it's very hard. You sometimes have to sit in a courtroom looking at your family member and telling them, like, these are the reasons. These are the things you've done. And if you've ever had to confront you on all the ways that you've hurt somebody, it is uncomfortable. And if you are under the influence of some type of drug, you are not in the right state of mind to hear those things. So as a parent, as a child, because in Boone County, I've worked with Jared on when daughters have had to Casey's Law their mothers. It is uncomfortable. It is sad, but it is sometimes the only way that you'll save somebody's life. So what I've given everybody is a piece of paper, and it gives you these step-by-step, and it breaks it down into 20 seconds of information, because we've learned that 20 seconds is about all somebody can absorb, especially when they're going through a crisis. And then there are plenty of links that go along with those things. First thing you want to do, contact your county attorney. Then you want to reach out to your local Casey Law advocate. We have Casey Law advocate work in the area, but call the helpline. That's what we're here for. Work with us. We'll be able to give you the right next steps, things like that. Gather helpful documents, like, do they have insurance? Are they a veteran? Julie and I just went to the blue carpet event at the VA Medical Center, and they will assist individuals with detox and treatment, things like that as well. Schedule evaluations with 2 qualified healthcare professionals. One has to be a doctor, has to be like a psychiatrist or their doctor. Once you get those scheduled, they'll set a date for that hearing. And then if that individual doesn't show up to those appointments, the hearing comes around, the judge will say, why didn't you go to those appointments? Did you know that you had them? You were served with a subpoena. So then the judge will give them the opportunity to go usually, unless they're super defiant, and then Jared will tell you what happens next. If they go to those appointments and they have to go to some type of treatment, then they're ordered to go. They can go from anywhere up to 364 days. Not 1 year, but really close. And then if they leave, they abscond at any point, then we encourage those treatment facilities to give us a call. Then we send law enforcement out to pick them up. And then they have to go to either jail or whatever happens next. They have to go before the judge. That's the most important part. Our office works with Tim's Law as well. A very similar process, but all of our counties are kind of getting to know that process right now. And we can come back and talk about that another time. Once the family returns the evaluations, we have to do detox, we have to schedule a facility, things like that. It's not as difficult or as daunting as a process as you think it may be. It looks really scary. When we have family members that go to do Casey's Law, they're like, they told me that I can't do it because I'm not related to this person. You just have to be a loved one. You don't have to be related. Things of that nature. Call us and we'll give you those myths. If there is a question you have about payment, we have organizations that pay for that kind of assessment or treatment. Even though it says, you sign a waiver that says, I am financially responsible for this, that's not always the case. We will find some type of alternative solutions to that for you. Any questions? Just a sidebar before I move to the side, Julie is an incredible resource. Please give us a call at the helpline. If you have any questions about Casey's Law, I'm here. I just went and met with the state on Friday. They're going to use Northern Kentucky's resources that we created on a state level for everyone in the state going forward. We're working on a project. They're going to pull Amanda Peters for a video. Van Ingram is going to make sure that our resources that we have developed in Northern Kentucky, because let's be honest, Northern Kentucky is the best. They're going to use our material and they're going to circulate that through the whole state of Kentucky so everybody can have access to Casey's Law information. Last thing, my son is a freshman starting varsity at Boone County High School. He plays St. Henry on Friday. So, had an interception the first series of the game. I'm gonna have him run routes with Scott in front of your household. Thank you. So some other things that we do a lot of treatment navigation. So when I get a call on the helpline and they're like, I have no idea where to go. This is what I'm struggling with on addiction. Where do I go to detox? We work with them. We don't just, like Sarah mentioned, we don't just give a phone number and hang up the phone. We do all kinds of connecting calls and following up and making sure that they got the sources they need. And then we also have an awesome service called Uber Help that we do through our office. We provide each caller with 3 free round trips. Now, if we have a referral, like I have a provider call me and say, hey, this caller needs to get to me immediately. As long as they're not in complete distress, we even go as far as trying to connect them. They're in distress to police or EMS, making sure that a medical assessor comes to the scene, like we do all kinds of stuff. So we just, it's important to us that our clients are taken care of and that they're getting the help they need. And any questions so far? So who do we serve? So we serve our clients that we currently have. We do a lot of follow-up with them. We help parents, children, really anyone who comes in contact with us. We try to help, from family members, connected to resources, from youth resources, senior resources. We're not just focused on addiction. We also do mental health. We do resources in general. I've had a lot in the helpline with homelessness. That's a big barrier. But food, clothing, that kind of thing as well. Okay, so why do we do what we do? We do honestly what we do because we love to say yes, right? We want to be that strong community partner, someone they can lean on, not feel judged, not feel like they're just given a phone number, oh, that's an end. You know, we want to be as supportive as possible, meet people as they are, and be that person that number, that helpline number, and hope that that client will call me back when they're ready for treatment. They may not be ready that day after I explain to them the process, but to call me back, you know, instead of, right? Okay, so a little bit more about Uber Health. We do a lot of care coordinating through Uber Health. I even offer assistance with getting clients to probation parole, so that way they can move into recovery, reentry, bettering their lives, getting employment. We partner with Life Learning Center, and we do all kinds of navigation that way as well. Okay, so public health plus public safety equals systems change. So we like to look at this as pre and post arrest diversion is the front door, right? They enter and
starts the process of change. Right, so we see them as they are, they're in the law enforcement stages, potentially like going towards health stages. And then the back door, the reflection that we like to do, what resources can we provide? We're trying to work more with our detention centers, be a part of change. That is still a process we're all working towards, and advancements and updates and things. So, but we do like to do that public safety component with the as well. Okay, so CARES. So CARES stands for Coordinating All Recovery Efforts. So I don't know if any of you in the room may have a loved one or friend that may have received CARES from an establishment, or maybe in recovery or suffering from addiction. And they say, well, we've been there before. We don't want to go back there, you know, and they don't know which direction to go in. With CARES, we can coordinate with Sun Behavioral, Life Learning Center, North Key, St. Elizabeth. We also work with Transitions, the health department. And what this does is when they're in our CARES program, when we enroll them, we can tell them, not to discourage them, not to be too strict on them, but to tell them like, hey, we're here for you. And we follow up with them and we see how things are going. So if they have questions and say that Journey Recovery isn't a right fit for their IOP services, or Transitions isn't a good fit for residential services, we're able to see where they've been, and we can talk to community partners in that circle of CARES to try to connect them to even resources outside the circle that we work with.
Julie, I'd like to say something,
Yeah.
and this is the spot to do it. When you look at all these different agencies, and really there's some others as well,
Yes.
that's what we had before we created the Office of Drug Control Policy. And think about how confusing it is already, but how confusing it would be if you didn't have that air traffic controller. And that's kind of what I refer to these folks as, to be able to help a family sort through who can help me the best. And then, of course, with the Casey's Law, before Casey's Law, there was no way to force someone that's an adult into treatment. And because of Casey's death and his mom, who's from Independence, lobbying the state legislature to pass Casey's Law, we wouldn't have that tool either. But that's why this all came together the way it did, and we became a national model. So,
Thank
you. Mhm.
I like air traffic control. I usually.
Yes. Yeah, that is great. Yeah. Okay, any questions about CARES so far? Any guidance there? I know this is a lot, I apologize. We have a lot of awesome things in our office, and we like to expand the word as best as we can. So just let me know. So with some reentry services, we do provide all kinds of reentry services, from sober living suggestions. We work with our radiation's case for housing. Sorry, Sarah. Oh, no, it's KR. Thank you. With KR, so KR. Thank you. Sorry. There's constant changes with our housing curriculum. And just to make sure that we are getting clients to a housing environment that is appropriate and safe. So now with our housing, they do have to be certified under KR. What we do is we keep our clients safe by making sure we refer to only those establishments, those houses. So we do with reentry, when they're looking for that, we provide that assistance as well. We do ID services. Sometimes they need assistance just getting an ID so they can get employment. Life Learning Center is a great resource that we partner with to help our clients get that life skills again, get familiar with how to fill out applications, resumes. And we love to make sure that they go, excuse me, Dress for Success, which is a great place. It's on the second floor of Life Learning Center. And they really make you feel special when you're ready for your interviews and things.
So our office goes into each jail once a month to make sure that we meet with those individuals in reentry. And we ask them what things are weighing on their mind, what resources do they need for when they leave, because we want to work on reentry before they get that date of release. we'll go in and we'll say, do you have all of these resources? Because we want to make sure that they don't go back to jail. We want to make sure law enforcement and EMS and the jails don't have those repeat visitors. So we give them the resources they need so they don't come back.
Since we do a lot of awesome support services. So I'm going to go over a little bit about the overdose risk factors, signs, symptoms, and talk about some symptoms. These are some statistics that we put together based on current information. So overdose deaths in Campbell and Kenton counties decreased by 45%. So it's a gradual decrease, and you know, this information does fluctuate, but we do try to recognize when at least there are some good, and we're getting somewhere, and we're just going to keep trucking through and trying to find further resources to try to help our community. And then, so this is a team effort. There are for the third year in a row, Kentucky's experienced a decrease in the overdose deaths. And we've had the privilege to go down to Frankfurt and talk to Andy Bashir about a lot of this information and try to implement it into what we do in our current positions. Okay, so what are some risk factors of an overdose? So if you know someone that might have an overdose dependent, an opioid dependence, and they kind of notice that with their pain level, they're getting used to what they're taking, and you're just keeping an eye on a loved one. It's important just to make sure that, especially like after any kind of treatment, incarceration, just keep an eye on the loved one who might be experiencing that, a friend. Injecting opioids is also a risk factor. And the real common one is anyone who is on a prescription with opioids. It is really hard, and sometimes that individual can be carried away. So just keep it in medicine sorting. Okay, so who's at risk of witnessing an overdose? Really anyone who's at risk of seeing an overdose could be like family, friends, healthcare workers, police, and unfortunately, you could be in the community and you could witness something like that. It's just one of those things where unfortunately it's becoming an epidemic. It's common. And so how can we prevent this? A good way that I like to tell clients, especially when we do have one of our coworkers go into syringe access exchange and trying to convey treatment through there as well. You know, please do not use a limb. It's one of the things that we like to try to acknowledge. And if you're going to use, please make sure that doors are unlocked so that way help can get to you if something was to happen. So the Good Samaritan law. Okay, so if you are in the community and you approach a scene and you suspect that someone is having an overdose, under the Good Samaritan law, you are covered if you administer naloxone. And the most important component is please call 911. And the best way that you could convey this to dispatch is just say, I suspect an overdose, and give your location. And at that point, the Good Samaritan law covers you during CPR, during naloxone administration. Any questions with the Good Samaritan? All right, so signs and symptoms of an overdose. If you notice that the individual has a weak pulse, their pupils are small, discoloration, if their lips are discolored, pale, disorientation, they're not responsive, kind of loopy, like you're not making sense of what they're saying. Those are some key factors that can cause concern.
If the person's a little bigger, like they have a little heft to them, sometimes they'll snore. And you'll be like, why is this person slouched over snoring in the corner? Make sure that you check the color of their fingernails, make sure you check the color of their lips, things like that, because it could possibly be an overdose. That is something that happened with me and my family recently. We were on a vacation. We stopped at a Subway there was a larger man who had overdosed and he was slumped over, snoring. And I had to call 911. I had to administer naloxone, shuffle my kids out before anything could happen. But everybody was like, he's snoring, he's just sleeping. That's not necessary. Just make sure you pay attention to the.
You only got about 2 minutes.
Okay. How about, okay, perfect, this will take 2 minutes. Okay, so, let's go ahead and talk about the naloxone training. So what I have today is a nasal spray. And with the naloxone nasal spray, there is 2 in a box. And when you approach the scene, the most important thing, make sure it's safe, look around, make sure there's nothing there that puncture you, just be safe as well. So you want to try to have the client or individual on the ground flat. And you want to make sure that their chin is tilted back, okay, to administer. So when their chin is tilted back, this is just like a nasal spray. And this plunger, it's called right here, you just push it just like a nasal spray. And it activates a fine mist that goes into the nasal cavities. And it's instant. Sometimes it is not. If they are still unresponsive, you want to immediately start CPR. But of course, most importantly, before you start it, you call 911. So that way help is on their way. So once you do CPR, you want to do CPR for at least a minute or so. I know like adrenaline is rushing. You're probably not going to know. It's been about a minute. You want to go ahead after about a minute, administer the other one. It could be in any nasal cavity. It does not, you cannot overdose on naloxone. You can keep administering as many as you can. If you are out of naloxone, it is very important. To help the groups. And then if they do, in the case that they do awake, it's important to turn them on their side. You want to put them on their side. And to where like their arms, sure, yeah, you do them, thank you. I thought so. Next one. Next one. Sorry, guys. There we go. Perfect. Excellent, Kathy. Okay, so if you notice on the bottom here, she's on her side and her hand is right under her head, protecting her head. This is to prevent any aspiration, to make sure that, they do aspirate. Any questions? I know that was very quick, but I do not. We'll talk about a lot today. Yes.
So if the guy really was just snoring because he was sleeping and you give him that medicine, will that harm him?
It will not. It will just be in his bloodstream. You can be pregnant, you can be a child, you can be an animal. As long as it's an opioid overdose, doesn't work on things that are not opioid related, but it doesn't harm you. Okay. And then one more fact real quick. If they do receive Narcan, they go to EMS, they leave the ambulance and they go use again. Unfortunately, that has happened. The Narcan will not work after that administration. After you administer it once and it's brought them back, it is more than likely it will not work again. They erase. So hopefully that changes. There's a demographic form on the very back of your packet. If you could fill that demographic form out and you can bring it up here, we will give you a free dose of Narcan. So that would be 4 milligrams naloxone or Narcan.
We also have a book for that we're going to give an element and here donated in your. Remember, we do not have a meeting next week. Enjoy your Labor Day, but then we'll be getting together. So up there and work. Don't forget we have board meeting shortly. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a $2,200 pen that I recently purchased. Oh, my. Yeah. I know those. That's what I told her. I said, I'm gonna be taking your pen, your $2,200 pen. What is that? Wilder